done it. We have done it. Manchester United are Carabao Cup champions. Welcome back to Thread Manchester. I hope everyone's doing well. As you can probably tell by my voice, I'm still a little bit under the weather in terms of the vocal cords are still a bit low, a bit struggling after the celebrations of Sunday. But what a day! Absolutely brilliant. So much to get into. I hope everybody enjoyed the game. Wasn't in terms of performance-wise, again, in finals, as Jose Mourinho once said, they're not to take part in, they're to win. And Manchester United certainly did that. Didn't play incredibly well in terms of, keeping possession throughout large periods. We'll talk about playing well in a minute because I think there's a bit of a misconception going around. But I don't think Manchester United dominated the game. I don't think we played particularly well in possession. But again, defensively, another clean sheet, absolutely brilliant. So absolutely fantastic achievement to get a trophy, and the first trophy available to you to win that trophy and to get a trophy in your first season. Brilliant achievement for Erik ten Hag and the players, the staff, everybody, absolutely brilliant. So let's get into the game then. So obviously I was at the game, so that's why this video is slightly late. I was at the game. I only just got back yesterday, so that's why I'm still very, very tired from a long trip to London, but we enjoyed it nevertheless. I hope you guys did as well. So I've rewatched the game. So I rewatched the game last night. I watched the last bit this morning, and when, especially in finals, tactical elements. Often these types of games are decided by fine margins, and I think particularly in this game, in this final, the first goal was the crucial element. I was sat at Wembley with a friend, and I said to him, if we let Newcastle score the first goal here, I really worry for us, because Newcastle, obviously, we know defensively, Nick Pope was a big part of that, and obviously we don't know how the game would have gone if Newcastle would have scored first. But I said to him, even without Nick Pope, still, that defensively they're very, very solid. They're very good at wasting time. They're very good at keeping the ball out of play when they need to waste time. Set pieces, free kicks, getting the ball out for throw-ins, managing the game well. And I said to him, we've got to make sure we score first. 2 minutes before we scored the goal from Casemiro, David De Gea made a crucial save. So it was very, very important there to make that save. First half an hour, there wasn't a lot of goal-mouth action either way. Then obviously Luke Shaw with a fantastic delivery for Casemiro's header. And then obviously Rashford finds Weghorst, brilliant return pass, and we get a bit of luck. But Rashford, still hits it a lot hard and low, and you never know what's going to happen. And obviously we get the 2-0. So I think to go in at 2-0 ahead was, for me, when I was in the stadium, I was so shocked. I was so happy. I thought we were going to end up at 0-0 at half-time, and I thought it's going to be very, very nervy. But 2-0 at half-time, absolutely brilliant. Certainly exceeded my expectations of where I thought we'd be at half-time, considering how tight the first sort of 30 minutes was. But yeah, absolutely brilliant. So then obviously Diogo Dalot got booked in the 90th minute. So this is what I want to come on to, really. I want to talk about the game management and the substitutions. So Diogo Dalot got booked in the 90th minute. Now, I think Alain Saint-Maximin did him once or twice, but I do think Dalot got the better of Saint-Maximin once or twice as well. So it was quite a good battle in there. But obviously Ten Hag knew, and I think we all knew, there was going to be a point in the game where Wan-Bissaka was going to come on. Very, very important in terms of his one-on-one defending. Dalot's on a booking. We're in a final. We're already 2-0 up. So even though we might think Diogo Dalot, in terms of what he brings in our build-up, in terms of his progressive passing, his forward actions, even though we might value that a lot, we're already 2-0 up. We've got enough other pieces in the team to get a goal. We might get a goal on the counter-attack. We could score in any way. We've already got another fullback in Luke Shaw who can provide us some attacking guile. Really, we need to really lock down this right-hand side as much as possible. And that's not to say Dalot's a poor defender, because I do think Dalot has improved one-on-one. I think he's more aggressive in his defending. But there's no doubt in saying that Wan-Bissaka is much better in terms of one-against-one with his aggression, his tenacity, his winning those duels. And I think at half-time, bringing Wan-Bissaka on, that was a quite a sensible substitution for Erik ten Hag. I think a lot of us were calling for that at halftime in the stadium. I was having a few chats with other people, and they were saying, that's probably what we need to do, really. So very sensible substitution. Now, obviously, Newcastle brought on Isak at halftime. So Isak came on for Longstaff, I think it was. So Newcastle went to a 4. Isak was playing more as a sort of a number 10 at times, but obviously they then had sort of 2 midfield players in Joe Linton and Bruno Guimaraes, and Isak was sort of closer to Wilson at times. So they were. It was sort of maybe you could call it a 4-4. 1-1 or a 4-4-2, and Isak sort of at times dropping into the number 10, but obviously his main sort of focus is going to be to go and score goals. So Newcastle obviously then had the two threats in Wilson and in Isak. So you'd say very adept strikers, and 2 very good strikers, both on the pitch at the same time. So Erik ten Hag really, although he's brought Wan-Bissaka on, he also looked to change something tactically, and we're going to talk about that now. So obviously, when you've got such a fantastic one-on-one defender in Wan-Bissaka, right, you know that you can trust Wan-Bissaka most of the time, one-on-one, if he does get isolated against Saint-Maximin, to deal with the threat, right? We know that. But we also know that because of how good Saint-Maximin is, how quick he is, how quick his feet move, how strong he is in sort of shielding off defensive players, how quick he is from a standing start, the way he carries the ball. We know that Anas Saint-Maximin, even though Wan-Bissaka is in really, really adept 1v1, we know that Saint-Maximin is still going to cause us problems. Wan-Bissaka is not going to win every single duel. It's very unlikely that he's going to win every single duel. It's impossible to stop the likes of Saint-Maximin, completely stopping their impact. So Erik ten Hag thought, and particularly after the 50, if you see in the top left, the 57th minute here. Sorry about my voice again. My nose is blocked. My throat's gone completely after the game. So I do sound a bit silly, but try and ignore that. So we saw here in the 57th minute, this was the first example that I spotted, of Casemiro coming across and United looking to double up on Saint-Maximin. So I think this was a clear ploy from Erik ten Hag and the coaching staff maybe. Okay, we brought Wan-Bissaka on, but at the start of the second half, Newcastle was starting to get a bit more territory. Right, Casemiro, whether him himself decided to do it, Casemiro, or whether the coaches and the manager decided to do it, Casemiro, whenever Saint-Maximin gets the ball, you need to cover the inside. Wan-Bissaka, you cover the outside. Do not let this player have any impact, put any crosses in, put any cutbacks into the box. Why? Even though Saint-Maximin his end product isn't fantastic, you could say, we know that Newcastle have got the likes of Isak, Wilson and Joe Linton in that box now, not just in the air, but on the ground as well. Very, very strong physical players, good runs, good movement in the box. We don't want anything going in there because we know the quality of those players. So this is the first example of it. So Wan-Bissaka and Casemiro, we see the doubling up there, right? Eventually, Saint-Maximin is turned. So that's 2 seconds later. So there's only 2 seconds difference. He has to turn back away from goal because there's no space for him to move into. And then eventually he passes backwards. So you'll see that already. Wan-Bissaka and Casemiro, there's a clear ploy there to stop any moment to stop Saint-Maximin entering closer towards United's goal and putting anything into the box. So that's the first example. Here's the next example. You see Saint-Maximin looking to approach the box. Wan-Bissaka comes out, but you see Casemiro looks to cover the inside as well. Saint-Maximin turns towards the inside. Casemiro covers that nicely, and he's forced backwards again. So that's about 6 minutes later. And you've got to remember, this is a very, very important moment in the game. There's still half an hour to go, at least, obviously with extra time as well. So if Newcastle were to get a goal in this moment, football is a very, very strange game. I was at Wembley. You probably heard it on the TV as well. The Newcastle fans were really starting to get rowdy, really starting to G their team up. We know that the atmosphere that the Newcastle fans try to provide, we know it's their first, final, their first chance to win a trophy for a long, long time. if they would have scored around this stage of the game after about an hour, it could have been a very, very difficult game for us. You don't know. We might have even gone and lost the game. It's football. It's a very, very strange game. But Manchester United managed this game extremely well. It wasn't just this ploy, but this ploy, this tactical move, this, whether it's Casemiro himself or from the manager, from the coaching staff, this little tweak to get Casemiro closer to Saint-Maximin, to stop him coming inside as much as possible, was a big, big reason why we stopped the threat of Newcastle towards the end of the game. And Saint-Maximin actually got took off in the 78th minute, I think it was, around sort of 10, 15 minutes to go anyway. He actually got subbed off. Whether that was because, Eddie Howe just thought this isn't working, or whether Saint-Maximin, obviously I think he's just come back from injury, whether he just wanted to protect him. But anyway, for United, that's absolutely brilliant news, because when you do need a goal and United are set up in a lower block, if you were to take off one of your best ball carriers, one of your players that can create something from nothing in Saint-Maximin, that's fantastic for Manchester United. Absolutely brilliant news. So here's the next example. So again, look, you've actually got 4 United bodies so close to Saint-Maximin. And obviously we took a risk here. So obviously if Saint-Maximin does find another Newcastle player, obviously we might get outnumbered. So we've overloaded on one player to isolate ourselves sort of in other areas. So you do take risks. You have to take trade-offs. You don't have an unlimited amount of players on the pitch. If you want to double up or triple up on one player, that's obviously going to leave other players free. But we took that risk. And once again here, you'll see eventually Wan-Bissaka gets the tackle in and it goes for a corner. It's still a corner. It's still a chance to score. But United, don't forget, you see how close Newcastle are here to United's 6-yard area. It's a better situation. Just get rid of it. Give them a corner rather than allowing any shots here from in the box. So this was a clear ploy from Manchester United in that second half. After about 57, 58 minutes, there's 3 occasions I've sort of put on sort of clipped up, screenshotted, got a photo of of Casemiro and Wan-Bissaka. You see doubling up on Saint-Maximin. So that was a clear ploy. Even more important because it was a final. We're 2-0 up. We need to focus more on the defensive side of things. We need to stop the ball carrier, the magic player, from creating. We need to stop any crosses or cutbacks going into the box, because they brought an extra striker on. They're going to have an extra body in there that's got good movement, that wants to score goals, that wants to, decent in the air, quite a tall player as well in Isak. So absolutely brilliant. Whether this was Ten Hag's decision, Casemiro's decision, whether the players on the pitch decided to do it themselves, whoever decided to get Casemiro closer to Saint-Maximin and double up as often as possible, it was a brilliant move. So obviously Manchester United, then we had our own counter-attacks. We should really have scored 1 or 2 more goals. But the main focus was to stop and prevent Alan Saint-Maximin having any impact and putting any deliveries into that box. So brilliant decision from Ten Hag, from the players. Not just that decision, also bringing on Sabitzer and McTominay, shoring up midfield there. Sabitzer also had a couple of efforts on goal, I think, as well. McTominay used his body quite well. Again, a nice little cameo from him. So yeah, again, the decisions in terms of the in-game management, the substitutions, were absolutely brilliant from Erik Ten Hag. So Erik Ten Hag, well done to you. Well done to your coaching staff. So far, so good at Manchester United. Really impressed overall by what they're doing, and from the players as well. We've had quite a turnaround. Obviously, we've brought some real strong leaders and players with real mentality in as well. But from also the players that were here before, we've seen some real improvement in performance, a few tactical improvements from those players, a few their sort of ability actually in terms of improving their overall game. You could name a few players that have done that in Dalot, Rashford, etc. So yeah, really impressed. Just a bit of a shorter video today, guys, on this particular element, just because I think with the final, particularly tactically, there wasn't too many points I could make. One other point that I did mention after the game to a few people was Luke Shaw playing slightly more inverted. So when we did have possession, we looked to sort of build up more in a 3-2 shape. We often see the 3-2 shape when Malacia's at left back, he inverts to form a double pivot with Casemiro. So we saw Shaw do that a lot in the first half in particular. So that's just an interesting point to make. It sort of it gave us a bit more control in there. We managed to. Newcastle didn't really overturn the ball in our sort of defensive third too much, which was good. I thought when we got to the middle third in the first half, we were a bit too sloppy with our passes, but I do think we got out of the press, any Newcastle press, quite well, in all fairness. So yeah, there's not a lot tactically. I think this is the point I wanted to make really about the in-game switch in terms of Casemiro getting tighter to some maximum, obviously Wan-Bissaka coming on as well. But that's what I wanted to mention, guys. I hope you enjoyed the game. I'm sure you did. I hope you enjoyed all the trophy pictures, all the trophy videos, all the chants, singing. Absolutely brilliant. I'll obviously be back soon with another video. We'll see what happens in the cup. So we've got obviously the FA Cup round of 16 tomorrow. Tomorrow night at home to West Ham. I won't be going to that game, so I'll be watching from here. So I might. The energy levels, I've got to restock the energy levels up a bit. I won't be going to a game for a few weeks now. Try and get the content out as much as possible. Sort of won't be traveling around so much. So hopefully we'll be bringing another video soon, a live stream or something later on in the week. But as always, guys, appreciate all the support. Just a quick tactical video today, just a quick in-game switch from Ten Hag I wanted to cover. As always, please do please do subscribe if you're new. Get involved in the comments what you thought of the game. I know it's a little bit late after the game. Sorry that it's a little bit delayed. But as I said, I only just got back yesterday towards the sort of early evening. So that's why I haven't been able to make any content before this. But I appreciate everything, guys. As always, thanks for the support. Please do like and subscribe if you're new. And as always, get involved in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. Cheers, guys.